Mama, they here. Mama, they here. Tony, what we done, bro?
Hi everyone, Donut here. Today's short story starts in the worst place imaginable, a tiny apartment bathroom. It seems like a reoccurring thing happening lately. This one has a grandmother trapped inside and an armed man between her and the exit.
And it's not good.
The family is screaming, police are rushing in, and in just a few seconds it turns into one of the most intense scenes you can put officers into. But what really stands out here is just how unbelievably tough this grandma is when everything starts falling apart. Trust me, you're gonna want to see how this plays out, so stick around, but first a word from our sponsor. This video is sponsored by 1st Phorm. Up until recently, I've been buying 1st Phorm for years, and I'm super happy to be partnered with them now. The main reason I'm so happy to be working with them now is because they care about the person, you guys, just as much as they do the product. And I'll tell you what, it's some quality stuff. Let's take a field trip. Let's go look at my pantry. We have everything 1st Phorm, and not because we're both sponsored by them, but because we've been buying their stuff for a long time. Especially snacks, the meat sticks, amazing. 18 grams of protein. This one's barbecue seasoned, is my favorite. The little Power Pro bars, 15 grams of protein in these tiny little guys. That's chocolate brownie, but my favorite is salted peanut butter. One of my new favorite things is their Formula One clear protein. Rainbow sherbet and strawberry limeade are my favorites. And then of course you have your classic protein. Don't pay attention to my dirty pantry. Chocolate milkshake, vanilla cream, maple buttery waffle. My personal favorite, chocolate mint cookie. My creatine's around here somewhere, but I've got magnesium, colostrum, all sorts of stuff, multi-fiber for them guts. The Microfactor Complete Daily Nutrient Packs, that's these little guys, has everything you need all day. Antioxidants, multivitamins, CoQ10, fruits and veggies, probiotic EFAs. You got their bigger protein bars too. This is my favorite, apple pie. That's got 20 grams of protein in it. If I had to start with anything at 1st Phorm, it would definitely be the Microfactor vitamins. Let's be honest, you're probably not taking a multivitamin, much less everything that's inside their vitamins. Each box of the Microfactor Complete Daily Nutrient Packs comes with 30. That's a box a month. I promise if you take one every day, you're gonna start feeling great. Like I was showing you guys, what I had in my pantry back there was their clear protein. My personal favorite is the strawberry limeade and the rainbow sherbet. I'll mix some of that clear protein with their creatine for a tasty, refreshing post-workout drink. Last but not least, my favorite, their snacks, especially the meat sticks. 18 grams of protein slammed in this tasty little meat stick. I'm gonna threaten you guys with my meat stick. Right now, if you go to firstphorm.com/donut and order any supplement, you get 1 pack of meat sticks for free. firstphorm.com/donut. All right, our first story. This is a courtroom story where a jury did their job, the system did its job, believably so, but then the judge walked in and totally ruined everything.
I don't want to live on this planet anymore.
February 2nd, 2026, Louisville, Kentucky. A jury recommends 65 years for a violent kidnapping / robbery / sexual assault case. Sounds good. What could have gone wrong? I mean, other than just hanging the guy in the public square, but the judge went wrong. Now, to be clear, in Kentucky, the jury recommendation is a thing, but the judge gets the final say. And from what local attorneys are saying, it's not normal to just casually disregard the jury like it's a Yelp review. She cut his recommended sentence of 65 years to 30. According to court reporting, this was a stranger attack where the victim was forced into her own vehicle at gunpoint, driven to a location, sexually assaulted, taken to an ATM to withdraw money, and assaulted again. It's not really an oopsies or bad decisions. That's predatory behavior. But that's not how the judge sees it. She said he fell through the cracks of the system as a black man. This is a monster who couldn't even respect anyone during the trial, even the judge that just cut his sentence in half. During sentencing, he's reportedly still running his mouth and making threatening comments in open court.
Before we even get appearances, Mr. Thompson, I'm gonna need you to be respectful.
I ain't doing nothing.
Well, it's fine. Okay?
What?
That's fine.
Yeah.
Because here's the
Spit on y'all
thing.
wood.
At the end of the day, I'm the one with the pen.
I don't care.
I know you don't.
Yeah.
And it's a sad, sad scenario.
I ain't tripping.
So you just told me eat your and you called me a sucker twice.
And then we get the other quote from the judge that made everybody's head just tilt sideways. The judge is talking about him as a young black man who's experienced this society. Yeah, so did I. So does everyone else. So did the victim. So does every person who pays taxes and locks their doors at night. Moving on. All right, before we get into the main story, we need something to rinse the taste of that last segment out of our mouth. Not really a palate cleanser, more like a mental windshield wiper. So officers are down in the subway doing what cops do, dealing with chaos in a tube underground when they come across a suspicious fellow. They see a guy with some luggage and decide they need to take a look inside, and I want you to understand something: you never get a normal day as a cop, ever. Because what gets pulled out is a Shrek mask, and at first you're thinking, oh, weird, but harmless, and then you notice it has a custom modification. All right, now that your brain has been power cycled, let's get on to our main story. And after what we just watched on the subway, I need you to understand I would rather find 10 more cursed masks and luggage than respond to the call we're about to talk about. February 2nd, 2026, Dallas, Texas, approximately 8:41 p.m. The 911 call starts as a man saying that his son is trying to shoot him.
What's going on?
All right.
Hold on.
My son is trying to shoot me.
Son trying to shoot. Okay.
Yes. All right.
Does he have a gun or?
I'm telling. What do you think?
I'm making sure.
So we got ourselves a family violence call from a dad saying his 18-year-old son is threatening to kill not only him, but everyone there.
You need to relax.
Body cam starts with an officer and his partner walking up and trying to figure out which apartment it is when it becomes very obvious where the trouble is at.
Which apartment, upstairs or down? Upstairs.
There's two of the gentlemen in there. What you doing? Come on, they're not armed. That's not funny.
I don't think y'all realize, but that screaming has to be incredibly loud to be heard from outside of an apartment down some stairs. That screaming from behind a door type of screaming, the somebody's trapped type, the barricaded suspect type. So the officers start moving fast. Once the officers are up the stairs, you can already tell where it is because it sounds like the walls are trying to leave the building.
Keep going. Mama, they here. Mama, they here. Mama, they here.
The officer asks what's going on, and he gets the worst possible answer.
What's going on?
He's in there with a gun.
So we have a suspect barricaded in a bathroom with a gun and a screaming woman. So the officer decides to make entry, but before that happens, this happens. The door opens and the suspect comes out with a handgun pointed at the officer. Here's a view from the lead officer's partner's body cam for another perspective. One of the rounds strikes the officer's vest right in the center mass.
Hey, stop the gun, bro.
It happens fast, but both officers return fire and start falling back out of that fatal funnel. And in that tiny little bathroom, the woman in there, who turns out to be the grandmother of the suspect, ends up getting hit too. She wasn't the target, she just called around in the chaos. And here's the part that tells you everything you need to know about the intent. Even after that first burst, the suspect keeps pushing that handgun out toward the hallway like he's still trying to finish the job. So this is a real bad situation. You basically have this officer who's been shot, now almost cornered. Grandma decides to make a dash out of the bathroom for cover, but not before she is seen holding what is reported to be a can of pepper spray in her hand.
He's in there with a gun.
Open the door!
Tony, they
Police!
got a
Police!
gun, bro.
Stop!
Now, why she's kind of holding it out of the door, I'm not sure, but I do understand not wanting to be in the middle of the shooting. Not the best timing, but I get it. The grandmother ends up being shot again in the chaos as she runs out of the bathroom. This is exactly why these scenes are so dangerous. Tight hallways, screaming, people moving, a gun coming out of a bathroom door. It turns into a who is where problem in milliseconds. And I'm not trying to judge her for trying to escape. She's trapped in a bathroom with an armed guy who just got into a gunfight with police. But from the officer's perspective, it's a literal nightmare situation. You just got shot. You're still engaging a gun in a doorway, and now a person comes flying out of that same doorway into the line of fire. And that is how headlines happen. Not because someone wanted it, but because the scene is chaos and the human brain is not built for this. Once the suspect is down, the officer doesn't just stand there and hope the gun stays put. He pushes into the bathroom and disarms old boy. Officers then start rendering aid to the grandmother and the suspect. And I just want to point out, the grandmother is tough as hell. When she's getting treated, she's way calmer than most people would be after living through that, especially being shot.
I know, ma'am, I'm sorry.
Light switch, come on, baby, to the light switch. Come on, baby. Right here, y'all. I got
Suspect
hit,
is
y'all.
down. We have one black female who is shot.
Dual respect for that. The suspect was hospitalized in critical condition while the grandmother was shot but is recovering. As for the officer, his vest stopped the round. Police say that the gun was a .40 caliber with a switch, of course, and an extended magazine, of course, and the involved officers are on routine admin leave pending review. Well, that's all I got for you fine people today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you want to help support the channel, you can go on over to donutoperator.com, check out Donut Operator TV here on YouTube, or subscribe to pepperbox.tv, where you can see some exclusive shows from my friends and I. Until next time, please have a fantastic day.